How y'all doing today? Uh, I have a very special guest with me today, um, Miss Charkeitha, the Cookie Lady. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
How have you been?
I've been good and just, keeping steady. That's
Yeah,
what I do.
this was a well requested interview. I appreciate you for stopping by today. The vibe is just natural. We couldn't even hardly start the interview for talking about the goodness of God and just giving testimonies about different things that we're going through and experiencing and being in a position to have to lean and trust on God when all of your options have been uh, done away with, and then we have those moments where we have to lean and trust on in God. So I know in business as being the cookie lady and me being in business as well, I know we have to do a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to do a lot of that. So I want to go back and I want to talk about just the cookie lady and where you started from. I know. Well, I'll let you explain it, but I've listened to you before, but I would like to hear um, where'd you come up with, like, how did you start off baking and stuff like that?
Well, I kind of started out baking. I was, sneaking starting out as a kid. I
Yeah.
would bake in the kitchen at home, of course. But we're talking about when did I start baking for the public and everything? Well, actually, I started. I would bake for my kids, and I was like, if they eat it, because my kids are kind of finicky.
Yeah.
Like everybody else may like it too. So, my late grandmother, Emma Washington from Nash, Texas, she used to bake a lot. I wouldn't actually. She was more of a nurturer for me. I wouldn't watch how she would bake things and whatnot, but I knew that she cooked a whole lot, and so basically it was just in me. And
Okay.
my maternal grandmother, she was actually a pastry chef. And I didn't realize that until I was like older or whatnot. This was way before my time.
Hmm.
But anyway, I started out with tea cakes, which is what my paternal grandmother used to bake a lot of.
Hmm.
Mine were different. Hers were more on the firm side or whatnot, and I would bake mine more, soft. So I started out with those, and I would take them to church, and
Yeah.
they loved them. So I was like, well, if I can perfect the tea cake my way, I said, let me go ahead and incorporate some cookies. So I started with some cookies. The first one that I made was I called it. I didn't have a name for it at first, but one of
Oh.
the guys at my church, he's like, with all that in there, that called that the double double. And so it had, which I've always, all of my cookies since day one have three chocolates in them. But this one had the three chocolates plus white, walnuts, and pecans. And so I started with that. And so as time progressed, I started adding more cookies. More, I started dreaming about cookies. This was when I was at FedEx,
Yeah.
and I started taking them to work.
Yeah.
And I started letting people try them, and they liked them, and I would take other food there as well. And so that's where it kind of began right there.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I worked at FedEx, so I would see
Right.
you, and I would, before we begin our routes, you would have a dish over there, like with all sorts of different cookies,
Yeah.
and I just saw how the people were reacting to them. I'm like, man, let me try this, and these were cookies like I had never seen
Yeah.
before too, like with all type of different flavors and different designs to them. And I was like, oh man, these are pretty good. And it's just funny. You know, God is amazing. You want to know why? Because a lot of times He's showing us plans in the future
Yes.
with certain situations that we're in, but we don't even know what He's trying to show us. Because
Right.
look now, we here doing an interview together,
Right.
And at that time, I wouldn't have known that I was gonna have a podcast studio like later on in life, and you'll have your own business. And not only that, me having a restaurant business as well. I didn't know that then, but it was a part of the process. I want to talk about a little bit of that, a part of the process of coming up and getting to that point, because it looked easy to most. I think people are, even when it comes to business itself, the way it looks and what's actually going on in real life are two totally different things. So, you experience some of those things?
Ooh, my goodness. Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, actually, before I became a business owner, I would, I tell people, I say, you see dollar signs, but you don't know of the expenses of what it takes to run a business smoothly. Let me go all the way back.
Yes.
When I, would see other businesses and stuff, I would be like, man, they got it all together.
Right.
I wasn't thinking about the license, the overhead,
Yes.
having employees, insurance, the staying in compliance, running things, and making sure everything is good and running smoothly, and plus trying to make enough to have a profit.
Wow.
Things being going up, things cost a lot of money, and the times that we're in now, they've doubled.
Yes.
And I'm like, like I said, I was just like everybody else, seeing the money be made, and I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Going in first, when I was on State Line, it was nice.
Yeah.
But it all goes to the Lord giving, and He also takes away.
Yeah.
God gave me the opportunity to be able to do that. I mean, the traffic was backed up. I was talking to a friend this morning about it. I mean, the line extended out about a half a mile.
Yeah,
and I was like, Lord, this is, I was busy, like really, really busy. And sometimes you can get too busy for God. You may not think that you are, but sometimes you can get so busy, and God is rolling in this and that and the other, but you can't put your faith in mankind. You got to put your trust in the Lord.
Wow.
Because just as sure as He'll give it to you, He'll take it away too. And so I've experienced all of that. Like I said, when I was on State Line, it was booming. Everything was good. Everything was grand. I've had people to take from me. I've had people to mistreat me. I've even done some things. You understand what I'm saying? People always tell what happens to them, but they don't tell you what they've been involved in. You know what I'm saying? So I've run into a lot of challenging times, but I had to keep my faith in God.
Yeah.
There were times that my faith was shaky, and I'm like, these people are doing this and doing that, but why am I not, getting ahead, and why am I having all these issues? God has to allow us to go through things so that we know to lean unto Him and not our own understanding.
Right.
So I had to be set down a few times.
Yeah.
And even like now, I'm not where I would like to be, and I'm going through struggles. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I have to put my main focus on God, because He's the source, not mankind. And so those are some of the trying times. I could write a book about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I am eventually.
Yes. And you know what? You said something real important too, because a lot of times, what we don't realize is when it comes to success, the enemy present too.
Absolutely.
Because you want to know why? The enemy wants you to look at self.
Right.
Self-made. Look at man. And that's how we start pushing God out.
Right.
We look at the achievements. Let me tell you something. This is one thing I've always said when I do my videos. A lot of people have the enemy mixed up. They think, when it's all bad, it's the enemy. No. Even in the scripture, it says, Satan walked to and fro seeking whom he may devour. You know how you devour somebody? Give them what they want.
That's right.
Giving them what they want.
That's right.
That will destroy them, because it becomes greed.
Absolutely.
They focus so much on the things that they have. Even in the scripture, there was a man, the young ruler, and he had riches, and he obeyed God's commandments up to a certain point. he asked God, what must I do to inherit the kingdom of God? And God named off all these commandments. He said, I've done all these things. What do I lack? Now here's where the problem comes. He said, take all you have, sell it, give to the poor, and you have treasures in heaven. When it meant that,
meant giving up something.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got to give up this good that I got.
Right.
The scripture says that he walked away sorrowful, for he had many possessions. And Jesus said, look at this. It's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And I said that to say this. That's why giving us, everybody want money sometimes, money, all these things. And giving you, that's what Satan's job is to do, to give you what you want.
That's right.
Yes, it's going to eventually lead to something that's going to be of destruction.
Absolutely.
But the way that, how do you think Satan walked to and fro? How do you think he's so many places? Because he creates something that is hard for us to refuse.
That's right. That's right.
He creates something that's hard for us to refuse, and we be like, man, this look good. Mm-hmm. And what we do, we take our eyes off God.
Absolutely.
So when you said that, I'm like, that's very deep, because sometimes you can be looking at the money, you looking at this, you looking at that. Wait a minute, who put you in the position in the beginning?
That's right. That's right. And we don't. What matters is giving him the glory.
Right.
For,
exactly.
Because that's and we have to go through something. If we didn't go through things, why would we need God? Why would we need to talk to our big daddy? If we didn't go through things. You know.
And you know what else? I bet you learn more from them. See, you know what I've learned? Sometimes you don't, God knows what's in us, but trials will bring them out.
Woo, boy, you just said a mouthful. I'm telling you, because like I said, I've been up, but I done been where I've lost it all. And I'm not ashamed to tell anybody.
Hey.
You know, when I say I've lost it all, I've been in some situations, but I wasn't able to get myself out of those situations. God did.
Right.
And I'm still dealing with, going through the motions and whatnot, but it's going to be a major testimony. I've had people reaching out to me, want to collaborate and do this and do that, and just a lot of experiences. But we have to put our faith and trust in God and do what he has planned for us. We can't do it ourselves and keep him out of the equation. God is the way. And when we can't figure it out, he needs to be our first option. But we wait until we can't figure it out before we lean on him.
Ooh, wee.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's deep.
Absolutely.
Man, you know what? I know that the Spirit of God is up on you, because I'm telling you, you're talking about all the things. And this is another thing I've said. See, the scripture says that our God is a jealous God. So when you putting something before him, he had to take it away.
That's right.
Because, listen, if it take you losing for God to hear from you, you're going to continue to lose. Right. Because he wants to hear from us.
That's right.
So when you're doing good, he needs to hear from us.
That's right.
Because, see, that's what will keep it in place.
That's right.
When you put that before him, oh, now I got to take that. You ain't doing what I said.
That's right.
I got to get your attention.
That's right.
And we all, even you, believe it or not, we all struggling. And you know what? The spirit of humility, that's good for growth.
Absolutely.
That is great for growth, because, see, some people too prideful to say, man, it ain't going well.
Right.
And that's the evil spirit within right there.
Right.
To be able to admit that, hey, you know what? It's been up, it's been down. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Just like when Gideon went into war in the scripture, I'm going all in scripture.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like when Gideon went to fight, they mounted up strong. And God told them, you got too many. See, our problem is when we go into something, we want to do it our way. Right. And see, when we mount up strong and we do everything we know how, right. You know what we going to say? I did it.
That's right.
Not God.
That's right.
I did it.
That's right.
And God have to remind us sometimes that, listen, it wasn't you that carried you.
That's right. Absolutely.
It was me. I was behind you.
Yes.
And if I break you down to nothing and you still make it, everybody will see.
That's right.
It was me.
That's right.
That took you. Because if man give it to you, they're going to say they made you.
That's right. If it wasn't for me, that's what they're going to say.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for me helping you,
yes,
man going to say, I did it. Right. That's why you got what you got.
That's right.
But God have a way of removing it all.
Yes.
And say, it was me.
And I'm going to get the glory.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get the glory.
That's right.
Because they saw you from a point to where it wasn't going to work. Right. They was counting you out. Right. But God lifted up something for you. He lifted up his standard for you. Yes. When the floods came upon you, God lifted up a standard for you and said, I got your back. Right. And you know what? That lock us in more. I'm taking up all your talking time.
Absolutely not. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Yes.
But God lift up that standard, because I know when you came in and you was talking about me and we was talking about my situation, you really was pouring into me, because I'm like, ooh, she talking to me because I got weight. We carry weight. Yes, absolutely. And we carry weight with a smile, but within absolutely, it's weighing us down. Right. And you were speaking to me, and I appreciate that. Absolutely. I know God gave it to you to say that, because I have a lot of weight, and I'm smiling.
You're a private person too. Yeah, I know that. It's only so much that you reveal to the world. Mm-hmm. But when God places it on someone's heart, one of his or whatnot, it's only so much you can push back from. But God is doing some things, and people don't know what they don't know this. Yeah. The whole is in a hole or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's deeper than this studio. Yeah, And you and your beautiful wife, it's y'all are building an empire, but through God. Yes. It's not y'all building it. Right. It's God making provisions and making ways, and God is pouring into y'all. It ain't just a studio or a restaurant or nothing like that. It's beyond that. Yeah, he's doing it.
You know what? And even the same thing is happening with you. Absolutely. Because what I see with you. You breaking that cycle. Yes. You stepping out there as a woman, entrepreneurship, and I'm going to tell you the truth. From personal experience of what I've seen, to me, I think it's a lot more difficult for women that step out in entrepreneurship, because especially black women too, because it's just very difficult, and when you jump into I saw you, I watch your videos all the time, and I could read. You know how when we see stuff, we can read stuff, we can see within. Yes. I saw you posting them ovens. You said, I want people to see what their food getting cooked in. I said, man, y'all don't even understand what she's saying right now. Right. Man, ovens $5,000. Yeah. That stuff is expensive. And when you got it up to code, to be up to code, that's a price of its own.
Absolutely. Because even just I pat my cleaning guy on the back, because I could, it's hard to keep an oven clean. Yeah. But mine is spotless every day that I put something in it. You can go, some people may like, well, I'm going to do a weekly oven cleaning. It's still going to be clean, because even at home, I don't clean my oven every single day when I use it at home. But, I clean the top and stuff. But as far as deep cleaning and stuff like that, all it takes is for a little splatter, to be up in the top of the oven, and you put some more food in there, and it falls down in there, cross-contamination or anything. So that's a very big important part of those that's having high standards as to what you're feeding your customers and stuff, and making sure that nobody gets sick, going. And I thank and praise God that I haven't had anybody to get sick or complain about, unclean stuff or whatnot. And I thank God for that. That's really a big deal.
I want to go into something. I see that you do things to reach back, do things involving with the community. I saw even that you were doing prayers and stuff like that. Can we talk about that?
Absolutely. During this time, in baking and going through this and going through that, God has released something else inside of me. God can use anyone. But in order for him to use you to the fullest of the potential that he has for you, you got to be broken. And I had to be broken. And so with that being said, I'm praying all day, every day. Every morning I pray for, there's I have a group that I pray for that a lot of people are included. You and your family is included in that. It's a certain prayer that I do every day before I get started, even before I pray for myself. And I pray for my family and all of that. But in that store, I pray for people continuously, all day, every day, whenever I'm there. And God also, places things in my spirit, and I give him a word if he does. And I've had a lot of people come back. Well, a lot of people come to me, ma'am, you don't know me, but how do you know this? I don't know anything. I'm just, giving you what I see or whatnot. And so when you're praying for others, you're praying for yourself. And I thank God for allowing me to do that. And I tell people, hey, I'm more than just a cookie lady. I do the cookies and stuff, but I do more than just that. And I enjoy, I've been in a situation where I didn't have enough. I've been in a situation where I was trying to figure things out and where I was going to live and how I was going to do this and do that. And I treat people the way I want to be treated. And seeing the people at the homeless shelter, like the way things are now, you could be one day away from your next meal. 1 minute from your next meal. You can lose everything that you got when you don't realize who's your source, which is God. And so with that being said, I have a heart for people that lack, because, there's been right now, I don't have everything that I need. But I have God. So therefore I have everything that God is going to make a way for me. But I pour out to the homeless community, not just the homeless people, but there's other people my inbox is full of people asking me to do this and do that. I would never tell a soul who it is. But if I can help someone, I will, because I know what it's like not to be able to have what you need, not to know where your next meal is coming from, not to know or to feel some type of way. You got family that can help you, but they'll refuse to, or tell you, well, I'll help you when I want to. Like, well, Lord, what am I going to do? He says, lean unto me. Yeah. And so wherever I can help and assist, I'm going to do it. So whenever I see things happening like storms and things that our community is going to be affected by, I don't rest it the night before, because I'm thinking, Lord, when I get up, how am I going to help these people? And just like here recently, I got up, I didn't really have any money, but I was like, well, Lord, stone soup came to heart. I was in Walmart. I was doing some shopping for my brother, who was a paraplegic and complete I assist with. And I saw some potatoes, and I went around there. I'm like, Lord, I'm going to get these potatoes, and I'm going to make some type of potato soup, because I don't really have the funds to get it and fix it how I want to. But just me posting it, I had people, Southside Reggie came and dropped off bread and meat and stuff. And I had this young lady named Emily. I had Catherine bring utensils. People dropping off bits and pieces of this and that. That's the way stone soup was. And I can make it. I can put stone soup on a spiritual level,
right.
But like the 5 fish, the loaves of bread, and I'm like, well, Lord, how do you want me to do this? And that's where it started out last week. So I was able to feed them 4 days, and I'm gonna be able to do it another day. I don't know which one just yet, but I'm asking God to lead me on that or whatnot. But I enjoy being a blessing wherever I can, whenever I can.
That's beautiful. And as you were talking about that, I was thinking, in the scripture it says if we be faithful over a few things, he'll make us rule over many. A lot of times we asking God for all this stuff, but he said, what you do to the very least of mine, you have done unto me. And the point that I'm trying to make is everybody want all this stuff sometimes. But are you even thinking about who you want to help? Or are you even thinking about how is it that God is going to get the glory out of it? You know, most people, I'm not saying you generally, I'm just saying naturally.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't put God in mind to get the glory from what they want to do. If your success is based off just you being successful and nothing you're doing within your success is glorifying God or helping the very least, then you're setting yourself up for destruction.
That's right.
You know, and I think that is very beautiful that you reach out. You know, you said something too. I be looking at those people out there on the road who have signs, and I be telling them, I be thinking in my head sometimes when I pass, you just don't know. I'm about 2 weeks.
I mean, yes, really.
I'm about 2 weeks from being out there with you. I be looking. I'm like, man, y'all don't know it. Even though they out there with them signs, they might be making more than me out there.
Seriously.
Because they sitting out there and folk give if 50 folks give them $1 an hour, they beat me.
Right. And it's not passing judgment on their situation because I had made a post one time. I'm like, I'm seeing them out here in these elements, the storm and the rain with these signs that I sit there and watch them write them up. Then I see people that show them getting into a nice vehicle, this and that.
Yeah.
It's not for me to pass judgment. God will put it on my heart who to bless.
Right.
You know, and I know that people aren't just going to intentionally want to go to a shelter and just because they got to, that's their only option because of COVID and everything else. And you're having to bring your family in there and be amongst a lot of people, different spirits and stuff. So who really just wants to go and live in a shelter? And so when I'm seeing this and I'm like, you able to stand on your limbs? I suffer from neuropathy. You don't hear me just getting, I'm hurting this and that and the other. But you're able to stand out on a corner for 6, 7, 8 hours a day and hold up a sign and wave. And can't you go and try to seek employment? You know what I'm saying? A real job or try to even become your own boss. You know, God gifted you to be able to do certain things and try to get it together, try to get the resources and stuff. And so, like I said, not passing judgment, because it's a lot of that around here. I understand what you're saying. But I ask God to lead me as to who to bless and how to do it. And I give him the glory every time. A lot of people do things for show. And even with me posting daily about what I'm doing, I do that because not only have people dropped off materials, but people have sown seeds, whether it's $10, $25, or $50 or whatever. And I want them to see that whatever they've sown unto me, I'm spending every last dime. I'm keeping receipts. Yeah. But some people do things for show and they want to get the credit or whatnot. I don't care about credit. I just want to let people know that your works as a community, because this what I did the last 4 days, it wasn't the Cookie Ladies doing. It was the community. It was community effort. Right. There were a lot of people that sold. I can't tell all the names, but I was just giving names of people who actually physically dropped off a few things or whatnot. But there's other people that gave, and I want to let them know, which they do see, well, hey, that was put to use or whatnot. But it's not what we did. It's together as a community, but it was only through God's grace and mercy allowing us to do that, because without him, we wouldn't even been able to have the things to do with the resources. But God is the source.
Yeah, that's right. And not only that, even the few names you said Southside Region. I'm like, so people wouldn't even know that, he's doing things to help.
Absolutely. He's done it a couple of times. He brought bread and meat and he was like, I want to do this. He said, I was trying to figure out how I could. And he came and dropped it off at the shop. Wow. Yeah, so he's an amazing person, and we're good, Right. So I pray for him, and he knows it. So he visits me sometimes, and he's a good guy.
Yeah, well, that's great to know. That's good to know. And you know what I was saying, and it was another thing you just said. You absolutely right, because see, when it comes to you said people can stand out there for hours, and you know, like you said, not passing judgment, but there are some people that wish they could stand.
Absolutely.
There are some people that are just praying to be able to stand up.
Absolutely. You striking home, because my brother's laying in the bed right now trying to get up and walk. Had a tree fall on him.
Right.
So yes, you're absolutely right.
And some people are praying to just be able to walk and be free.
Right.
Some people don't have the ability to talk or see. Some people are just praying to just, Lord, let me see. I just want to be able to see with these eyes.
Yes.
So that goes back to what we're saying, like, success is not always, and blessings is not always about money.
Right.
And some people just, some people just, the little things.
That's right.
It's a lot of people. Some people don't have a tongue.
Right.
Some people can't hear. And we have all these things as a people, and we be complaining.
Take it for granted.
Yes, we take it for granted.
Right.
And I didn't even with what you share, I'm blessed. Wow, it humbles me. Yeah, it humbles me to realize, like, you tripping about this one thing. Man, it's somebody that just want to be in good health.
Right.
They don't even want money. Lord, just fix my body.
That's right.
That's all they want. And we have these things, and we complain.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm definitely grateful for you. Your spirit is genuine. Even every time I've seen you, from the moment I saw you. Now, my first encounter with you was at FedEx, but when I saw you actually getting out there, I was like, oh man, don't you know? Let me tell you something. I want to give you your flowers. You're doing an excellent job, okay? Because let me tell you something. Don't you know you encourage others? You encourage others. When I saw you jump out there, CookieLady, doing your cookies like full entrepreneur, I was like, you know what? What's our problem? If she can do it, we can do it. That's what my wife always speak about you. She always talk about you. Yeah. And you know what? You always buying stuff from her too.
It's good.
And she and I be noticing when she was closing up and that she was like, I'm taking these to the CookieLady, and I'm like, well shoot, man. I'm like, man. And I've delivered a few times myself, and I'm like, wow, she's, really in there, really supporting the people for real. Yeah. And you really help the people, and you really support the people, and you really have a heart for the people for real. And believe it or not, it's well respected, because lots of people, when I started doing the podcast, they're like, man, get the CookieLady, get the CookieLady. And I'm like, man, I know business. Yeah. And I'm like, man, we in business. We gotta stay running. We ain't got, from my perspective of business, man, I don't have time to stop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like, right now, normally in the winter, that's the slowest times of business. People don't move around a lot. Even with my job, it's slow now. And I'm making some of the biggest choices right now. I said, Lord. So when you came in here and you started saying all that, I needed to hear that. So I thank God for what he gives you, the wisdom and the knowledge that he gives you to do for others and to pray for others, and just the words you give to them, because they're so meaningful, they're so powerful, and he knows exactly what to do. And so I want to personally tell you, we appreciate you for all the things that you are doing for the people and the community and for yourself, and most importantly, giving God the glory through it all.
Yes.
Because see, that's why I try to do it. I do it. I try my best. People be like, "Well, I see you doing this, doing that." Man, I be talking about the Lord, and I try to be honest as much as I can. And some people be like, "Man, don't post negative." I try not to, but can I just be real? It ain't always sunshine.
That's right. That's right. You gotta have some reality.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Reality.
Right.
I ain't always happy.
Right.
And guess what? Some of the things that God taking us through, it don't always feel good.
Tell me about it. That's right.
Because one thing I've learned about God, I've learned some of the things that I went through. I said, you know what? If you wouldn't have went through that, you wouldn't have been able to do this right now.
That's right. What happens to us ain't edited or scripted.
Ooh.
You know, what we go through and what we have to deal with, we can't say, well, okay, it didn't work right then. We gonna do it again.
Yeah.
In a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
God gonna allow us to ride on through that, and we can depend on Him and lean unto Him and know that He's gonna pull us on up out of there. But we don't know what's gonna happen from one moment to the next. We just have to lean unto Him and trust and depend on Him that He's gonna bring us out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's even scripture.
Right.
Our biggest problem, we lean to our own understanding.
Yep.
Well, it should have went this way. Oh, well, what if we gonna lean to our own understanding? What we need God for?
That's right. Until
so
He show you.
Right. Because you box with God, your arms too short.
I'm telling you. Yes.
You can't.
Right.
He have to show you, oh, you think you know it, all right.
That's right.
I made you.
That's right.
I already made the path for you.
Yes.
Your job is to lean on me.
Right.
I'm the direction. I'm the light.
That's right.
You ever tried, well, I know you probably ain't never, but you get in your car at night and you cut the lights off. It's a lot difficult to see. You gonna run into something, somebody ain't gonna see you. That's what it's like when we try to live our life to our own understanding without God.
Right.
We traveling in darkness. God is the light.
Right.
So without the light, He show you, oh, that miss that dog over there. He gonna run out in front of you.
Right.
That light right there, stop.
Right.
See, God is the light to give us direction, to protect us.
That's right.
As long as we going around in darkness, we don't see what the enemy got.
And I tell people about free will.
Yeah.
God gives us free will. People are like, well, why didn't God let this happen? And why did He do? I have to go all the way back. And I'm like, okay, God gave us free will, but He gave us free will from the beginning. He already knew how things were going to go. So He allowed us free will from the beginning. He knew what our choices were going to be made. And with that being said, He knew what direction He was going to allow things to go. And so today, now, when they were like, well, why God didn't stop this or stop that? Because everything was already predestined. God is not going to change up the course because you made a different, because of what your free will was from the beginning or whatnot. Everything still has to go according to His plan and His purpose. And with that being said, there's routes that God had knew that were going to have to be taken, and this was going to have to go this way. And if you, because of what your choices were or whatnot, you're not going to change the course of what was going to happen in the world. Because one detour is going to change the course for everybody. But God already knew. his plan and how things were going to be. So I have to sit down. It's I have to sit down and explain to people why God allows things to happen and predestination and free will and all of that. But God is an amazing God, and we just have to know that He's the answer to everything.
That goes
that's
back.
Beneficial.
That goes back to the post I made the other day. People be wondering, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? There are things that God do to show you who He is. You know, I pray for the people in California right now with the wildfires, and they're losing their homes, they're losing everything. But at the same token, this is a humbling experience right here, because there's people with $1 million houses who have nothing right now.
Right.
And there were people who were homeless. The people that had millions are in the same position as those folks right now. Didn't you just say that?
Absolutely.
At any moment, while you living up good, thinking you doing something, God will have a way to knock it down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Make an example.
Right.
That's right.
And right now, there's fires going on out there, and the firefighters can't stop it.
That's right.
How you think that is? You got something going on that man can't stop.
That's right. That's right.
God will remind us who He is. And the whole objective is to lean to Him.
That's right.
A lot of people don't know. They say, well, why all this bad stuff happening? Because a lot of us doing bad too.
That's right.
We ain't obeying. We living our lives the way we live. We ain't trusting Him.
But some of us still going through the sins of our forefathers.
Right.
We having to deal with that too.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget about that.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is such a beautiful. I love this interview.
Me too.
You listen to me. I came to interview you.
No,
but that's how the Spirit of God do.
That's right.
That was something that needed to be said, because it's so much coming to mind. It just needed to be said because I feel it. You know, I'm here to encourage you, sister.
I appreciate that. I do.
I'm here to encourage you to hang in there. And you know what? When you came here, you encouraged me. You was looking at the studio, you was like, oh, man, this is real. And I was like, man, you know what? That lifted my spirit.
Yeah.
Not that I was necessarily sad, but I'm exhausted.
Right.
Mentally.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because, and I know that's what's going on with us both. Yeah. I know the mental exhaustion. You're doing a lot. Yeah. And sometimes we don't see from all our labors at the moment.
The fruits of our labor.
Yeah. Right. We don't see it at the moment, and it's like, you know, we can talk that talk, trusting God. Right. Shoot, some days though.
Right. Man, you just, oh boy, I tell you.
Some days, just hang in there. It's going to be all right. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Hang in there. God got your back. Yeah. You come on over here with me. That's right. You stand in my position.
That's right.
And then you talk that talk.
That's right.
Because I ain't going to lie. Sometimes I'm, hanging there. God got your back. I know. But right now I don't feel, it's not that I doubt God. It's just I'm human.
That's right. That's right.
The human body. We feel things. We are going through, and then look, not only are we going through on the spiritual side mentally, physically things are happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Physically things are happening. Yes. A lot of people looking at the podcast, they say, oh man, it's growing. Can we just be real here today?
That's right. Absolutely.
So my wife we had to get out the building. We go from business to not even being in the building. But we going.
That's
we
right.
Pushing.
That's right. God doing it. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We going, we pushing, but
Sometimes we can grow complacent too.
right.
And we can be feeling, no, I'm gonna keep on with this. I'm gonna keep on doing. God don't need no help. And when we grow complacent, sometimes God got to give us a shove in order to get us out of that zone and put us somewhere else, because we ain't gonna do it on our own. If He's giving us the opportunity to make our decision as to either I go or I stay. I'm gonna just stay and wait it out. God be like, no, you ain't gonna stay and wait it out. You're not gonna waste the gifts, the talents that I have for you. I'm gonna push you on out the door. You're gonna feel like I'm letting you down, but actually I'm lifting you up.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And those trying times, I tell you what, a lot of times you be thinking this is going bad. No, it's going good.
Right.
The bad part is you thinking about it your way.
That's right. That's right.
God already got the path figured out. He already know what to do. You thinking about it your way. That's the bad part.
Right.
You done got beside yourself. You forgot me.
Right. Right.
Sure, one thing I know about God, He will lift you up
Yes.
when people tear you down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, He will build you up when people doing everything. Listen, the scripture says, listen, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Can we go through that real slow? Remember this. It's formed against you. So that means they're going to try.
Right. Right.
Things are going to be happening.
That's right.
They're going to try. It won't prosper, though.
That's right. That's right.
It won't prosper. They will try,
Yes.
but it won't prosper.
That's right.
I thank you so much. You just your presence being here has just really encouraged me. It's a beautiful interview, and I appreciate you for all the things that you do for people and the prayers, even with us, keeping us in mind in prayer. And God have great things in store for you. He's, believe it or not, I look at you and I'm like, you're a testimony
Thank you.
all by itself. Because I'm like, you over there in Richmond Road area, well, on Kennedy Lane, but that's pretty much Richmond Road area. That's you in the toughest areas.
Yeah.
Being able to, because, and what I mean by tough, we talking business tough. We talking business term. Right. To be over there is high.
Yeah.
It's hard to, anywhere in that area, it's hard to be over there. And for you to be able to still be there, I tell you what, man, that's a testimony on its own. And one thing about it, I see, you constantly give God the glory and the praise, and the objective of it all is, even with what you're doing in your testimony, the objective and the goal is pulling us all in. Listen, if she can do it, why don't you trust?
That's right. That's right. I got amazing landlords over there.
Oh yeah.
And they have stood by my side since day one. Mm-hmm. And I say people like that, they'll never go lacking for any good thing.
Right.
And I just ask God to just be a blessing all around and the entire plaza. Yeah. And those that that own it. And I thank God for my opportunities. Mm-hmm. I thank Him for even the bad days, because I know everything's gonna work out for His glory. And I just I keep on pushing.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you got in store for 2025? What are some of your plans?
Well, I want to do more than cookies. I got some things.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I saw you doing that, and I was like, ooh, that look good. But go ahead. Yeah.
I want to do a few things. Me and my daughter, we discussed new things. And what I'm big on doing is Google is our best friend.
Oh, yeah.
I like to Google to see if someone else is already doing it. They're not doing it locally. Hey, I jump on it. Of course, there ain't nothing that ain't been done somewhere. It may not be visible to everyone, but
Yeah.
But there's some other things that I want to do, and something that some things that we're really good at, and I've had few people to put projects out there for me. One lady told me I was gonna make her wedding cake, and I don't do cakes like that. She said, "Yeah, you're gonna make my wedding cake," and I'm like, "What?" And so she's depending on me to make a wedding cake.
Really?
I'm like, I ain't got no. These ain't my easy bake oven days where I can this is like real. But I even thank God for that, for people trusting me. I have people to ask me about decorative cookies, and I'm like, Graham Slam Suzy Q's is your go-to for the decorative cookies. I've done some, but they're not, perfect is what I call it. Yeah. If you're going to put your money out there and spend $50, $60 a dozen for some cookies, I don't want to just give you some trash. But some people are like, nuh-uh, do it anyway. Had FedEx, I did some Black History Month cookies last year, the year before last, when my old boss was in place. And I thought they looked kind of good or whatnot, but I want to give a person what they really, you putting your money into it. I want you to get the best.
I understand.
And so those are two places that I know they do them or whatnot. And I send people places all the time. If I know I'm not doing it, why not? It's a Burger King, it's a McDonald's. You can't have it all to yourself. Yeah. And so I send people, any bakery that I know of or I see them doing great things, I will send people their way. Cake House, they do an amazing job with their things. They have certain things that I can't touch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have someone coming in, ma'am, do you do this or do that? I'm like, your go-to is such and such. Sometimes I've called them and I send people their way, tell them how to get there. And Graham Slam, I send people their way. Even people have called me and I'll give them the phone number. And, that's what we have to do. We have to look out for one another. We can't handle it all ourselves.
Right.
So I thank God for just how he, we got a lot of business-minded people, a lot of people in business doing their thing, cooking from, just all sorts of things. Those are our gifts. And they're set to make room for us. So,
oh, yeah. That's right. And that's one of the reasons why I come up with, even with podcasting. This was something that I did. A lot of people don't know. I was regularly doing videos on my phone. And then so many people, I would go out places and people be like, man, I'm watching your videos, man, I did. And then they was like, man, you ought to do a podcast. People sometimes will give you stuff and it molds you into, like, you can make it as a business sometimes, and most of the time, a lot of things that we're doing on our regular basis, that's God's gift.
Right.
That's what he placed in you to be successful. Applying it to a business side is most of the time what a lot of people don't look into. And I'm like, shoot, don't you know really, like if you look at this studio, I really did all of this just for me to talk. But you know what I did? You know what I did? I said, there are other people that have stories. Right. There are other people that are doing things that are amazing that I feel like the world should see. Right. And God blessed me to be able to do it. When I look back now, everything you see, God blessed me to do on my own.
You know what I would love for us to have in the area surrounding? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't have it. I didn't get to start out with a business loan. I had to kind of dig in the dirt and use what I had, the resources that I had. And, of course, God was my source. That's why I was successful. I wish that there was someone that would actually sit down and show us how to get the resources that we need in order to be successful business owners. If we can't get a loan from the bank, show us how to get grants. Show us how to get be able to get the things that we need. You're telling us about these gifts that we have, which I always tell people about the gifts and how they'll make room. But what about the resources? You know, it takes money to make money. You got to have things in place. Like this studio, for instance, this money didn't just fall out the sky.
Yeah.
You know, you had to dig for it and come up with it and get it together. But what about grants? What about assistance on showing us how to go about getting this or getting that to add to what we have? That's what I wish that we had something like that to show us, because there's a lot of things that I lost out on, a lot of things I didn't know about, a lot of things I couldn't put in place because I didn't know how. Not just not knowing how, but I didn't have the resources and stuff. And so that causes a lot of people to turn their back on the talent and the gifts that they have, because how do I do that? I don't know how to get started. Nobody will tell me. So that's a big deal right there. I wish we had people to do that here.
And you bring up a very important point, because you know what I've learned after getting in business and learning the aspects of business. A lot of these people, some of these people that are opening up businesses and they don't, and they weren't successful and they closing it, they ain't even taking a real loss. Some of them people are they're getting loans and resources, and they're getting funding to be able to do it. And then when it don't work, they physically didn't lose much. Right. But without knowing that, you going in there spending everything you got to make it, and then if it don't work, you literally don't have nothing. And I've saw a lot of people. I had a guy on here. He was kind of going into that the small business owners and stuff, and he was basically saying that his name was Damien Denmark, but he was basically saying like working with the Chamber of Commerce and stuff like that within your city, and he was saying like they have programs there where when you're working with the Chamber of Commerce, they advertise you and it's there for you, and then it's like it gets people in tune with what you're doing, and all these different things that get lined up paperwork wise, it sets you up. And even me, I've learned about the business aspect. Like I got a DUNS number, I have a business account, and I have business credit. And business credit, and a lot of people don't know this, business credit and your personal credit are two different categories of scores. Right. So, for instance, because this is literally the situation I'm in right now. I have business credit and personal credit. So when you get business credit, you're getting a line of credit strictly related to you going into business. But if that fails and it doesn't work, it does not affect your personal credit. So you could have a 700 and something credit score, and you could be failing in your business credit, but you'll still have perfect credit, which means that with good credit, you still can have opportunity, even though your business part of the credit is not working. And it's like I had to learn that, and I'm utilizing that now. So I used a lot of business credit, believe it or not, to purchase all of this, because I used my business credit line. I will tell you this, for small business owners, American Express Blue, American Express Blue, they will offer you a business credit card with no line of credit, basically like if you don't have any proof that your business even made money. Now they start you off small. I think they start you around $2,000 or something like that, and then it grows from that point on. But when I got approved for a business credit card, I didn't even have proof of that my business made money. They looked at my direct deposits from my job on my monthly check stubs. I mean, on my monthly your account, your checking account. They look at all the monthly transactions, and they make a determining factor. But I had no business credibility. And so they will work with you, and I didn't have no business credit.
That was the favor of God
Yes.
That's right.
So I'm gonna tell you, if anybody is interested in getting business credit, that might be a good place to start because they'll do it with pretty much nothing. They did it for me, and maybe they'll do it for other people too. So you're absolutely right about that. We do need more things like that, and that's one of the reasons why I created this. Because believe it or not, I'm trying to bring awareness to the people,
We need it.
especially our people, because we don't know. And you know what I'm doing, y'all? I'm going out there and figuring out the people who know this, and I try to get them here so that everybody that watch can see this how you do it.
Yes, we need that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now, believe it or not. I know how to talk to people, conduct myself, and there I have certain credibility that now I can talk to people that I couldn't talk to at first. And like believe it or not, and I'm gonna try to get him. But there's a business loan manager at the bank. He was on the fence about coming. And he is the guy you talk to, like, when you want a loan, he knows exactly what you have to do to get it. And he's on the fence about coming. I'm going to try to get him here so we can help each other.
Yes.
Because the most important thing is, and listen, I'm being an example of it as well. If you see everything that I'm doing it through credit and business credibility. You know, a lot of stuff, I'm not physically, well, some of it I am. It's both.
Yeah.
But the business credit will get everything to you at once. And then the back end is that you have to make money from it to pay it.
Right.
But right now, everything you're looking at, paid for in full.
It's so peaceful in here.
Oh.
I can feel it. You know, it's really peaceful in here.
Yeah, I thank you. But everything here is done. Ain't nothing being repossessed. Ain't nothing going back. It's all done. But I did it piece by piece.
It's nice too.
Oh, yeah,
It's
thank you.
really
Thank
nice
you.
back there, and here it's really nice.
Oh, I thank you. Well, I appreciate you coming by so
Thank you for
much.
having me.
It was just a blessing to even have you here. I talked so much. You know, when we talking about the Lord, because I done been through so much, and I know you have too, and we done experienced so much. And when we look back and see that God brought us, would you just look back for a second? Can you just
My
think
God.
back
Yes.
how far God done brought you? I remember you working at FedEx.
And he pulled me through a lot of stuff. You know, times that I thought I was gonna lose, not just lose material things, but I was going through things where I almost lost my mind. That's the people don't talk about stuff like
Yes.
that, you know, and how people can turn their back on you, family, mistreat you, and lie on you, and be judgmental to your circumstances, but they don't know the backstory.
Right.
You know, I done been through all of that, but God pulled me through because I sit there sometimes and I look back over my life and I think of the things that he pulled me from, the things that he protected me from. And even when I was doing my own thing, I'm like, well, God, I'm going to do this anyway. Even though I know that's not in your will or whatnot and what you want me to be doing, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try this out. And I had to bump my head and get bruises and scarred up and drug across the mud and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
In order for me to realize, hey, you gotta, you're gonna have to turn around and you're gonna have to trust him and do it his way, not your way.
And you know what? You are absolutely right. And you said something that a lot of us, we going to see in the future, that when you really want to do something good, you be thinking like sometimes family going to be like, woo, rah, we behind. Shoot, they be the ones trying to stop you a lot of
right.
times.
That's right.
You ought to not do that.
That's
You-
because I've got my mom and dad. They are amazing. But my dad was like, well, Don, you think you ought to do that, baby? He called me Don,
Yeah.
which LaDawn's my middle name. I'm like, well, Daddy, my mom's like, I don't know about that. She's good at cooking and stuff, but Willie, I don't know. I'm like, y'all just believe in me, please.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I had to take a leap of faith, like really, really a big leap of faith, because I'm like, well, Lord, what am I going to do? You know, yeah, I've been there almost 15 years, but still, that ain't no retirement money. You know what I'm saying? And I got kids too. And so I'm like, well, Lord, what am I going to do? So I didn't work a job for a year, you know, after that happened. And I was like, Lord, you gifted me, and I know everybody's saying it's good. And I remember Jesse Ray saying, you going to back your way up out of FedEx. And I'm like, huh? He said, watch what I tell you. And sure enough, a year later, after he said that, I'm like, Jesse Ray said that. And so I had to, it wasn't my understanding because I didn't see how I was going to do it or how I was going to make it. I didn't have the resources, didn't know where I was going to go, didn't have the support, and none of that. So I had to, that was a God thing. So I'm like, okay, God, you said, now you said. And he's like, okay, try me. And so I put my foot in the water. Water was cold. I pulled it back. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try it again. I just had to ease on down in that water. And that's yeah.
My goodness, that's a testimony itself. And see, that's the thing. You know, faith without works is dead. Right. Even though you had the faith, you had to jump out there and say, you know what? One thing about it, being in a tough predicament, it help you become wiser because you be like, well, I know I can't do this.
That's right.
I know I can't do this. I got to do this. So sometimes having that heat on you, it's like, it's actually making you. Yeah. Ain't it funny how when they make different things of different shapes and forms, it's got heat on it.
Right.
It's got pressure on it.
You're absolutely right.
It's going through a process of the grinding. So making and molding you into what God needed you to be is some hard grinding.
I'm telling you.
It's some molding. It's falling down. It ain't coming out. It's whopping.
That's right.
But God gotta put that angle on you and shape you.
Yes.
And it's working out. So I tell you. Yeah, so, you know, all of it is working out for our good. Right. You know, because look back. You know, when I worked with you at FedEx, that's been it's been some years.
Absolutely.
So look how far God done brought you. You've been cooking, you've been doing cookings even before you know, when you did it, I was like, man, we can jump out here. Yeah. We can jump out here, you know, because, see, it's not the crowd, it's the Christ. That's right. See, even if it's just you and your daughter, because I'm going to tell you, it's just us. With my wife, sure, we had the kids in there helping us something. It's just us.
You got to be able to trust people.
Yeah. Ooh, we right there.
You gotta be selective, and you gotta pray and ask God to release people to help. Because some people will come in and be like, "Hey, let me help you," and I'm like, "Well, what would you? I don't cook. I don't want to have desire to do any cookies and this and that and the other." And I'm like, "Well, I'm selective on who I allow in my kitchen because sometimes people will backdoor your process and they'll take it and run with it."
Yeah.
And those very people, I know at least a dozen. They came to me and asked me for employment and asked could they be of assistance to me. They cooking now. Or baking. So and I'm like, now you told me that you had no interest in it. All you want to do was be of assistance. But now you're doing your own thing. And it's people that have moved away and they're doing their own thing. And I don't mind giving advice and stuff, but don't try to backdoor what I'm doing and be slick about it.
And see, you know what? You brought up an important point. We open a restaurant. You know my inbox went crazy. Hers too. Yeah. Hey, y'all hiring y'all this, y'all that. And you know what? You will give people a shot. They won't show up.
Yeah.
And then you want to hire family. They think they can be late.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And they ain't got to take rules.
Yeah.
And they can do their own thing.
And then some of them going to tell you what's best. I said, wait a minute now, because when I was signing these bills and stuff,
that's right.
whose name was on them? Because my name was on them.
Right.
Since we know who was best, where was y'all at when I was signing these bills and making notes?
That's right.
Where was we at? Because when I went and got that food trailer, I don't remember nobody being with me but God.
That's right.
So
That's
you know,
right.
so you and a lot of time people want to come to you and tell you how they gonna work for you.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I've seen some stuff. I tell you, it's an experience.
Yeah.
And stuff, but we learn from it.
Oh yeah.
That's where our strength comes from. Mm-hmm. Because if we didn't go through all those things, that chiseling that you were just talking about, and that churning and grinding and all that stuff, we wouldn't make it through anything.
Right.
And we just crash.
Right.
But God had to allow us to go through those changes to strengthen us and to know that we got to trust Him.
Yeah.
Stuff and how to do this and how to do that. We had to go through that.
Right.
But in going through all of those processes, during the good times, we still got to talk to Him and let Him know how we thank Him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Well, I definitely enjoyed you being on today.
Likewise.
Oh, yeah, because we really encouraged each other. You encouraged me, and God gave me things to encourage you. But I definitely want to tell you that no matter what, and everything that you're doing, sometimes it might not seem like you really getting the right feedback, but you're doing more. Let me tell you something. When you busting concrete, it's not an easy job, but the work is happening on the inside.
That's right.
See, right now, with what you're doing, you busting concrete. You're doing a lot, and let me tell you something. When you're busting concrete, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Because the first hit ain't going to do nothing.
That's right.
But if you keep hitting it, the work is happening on the inside. That's right. So by the time it get to the outside and you see a crack, it's already went all the way down to the roof. So I want to encourage you to hang in there through what you have to deal with in business, and just know, God has your back, and you're not gonna always see the results you're looking for, but God got you.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking to even myself, because right now I don't see. Because you gonna have them days. You're going to have them days sometime where you be like, well, I did everything right and nothing happened.
That's right.
But God see what you're doing. And it's funny how sometimes can we still be good when we're losing? Can we still trust God when nothing is going your way?
That's right.
Can you still hang in there? Will you still say you love me if I take you through this? Because, see, sometimes we only say we love God because everything is good.
That's right.
Will you trust me if I take you through this?
That's right.
What if you have no money? Will you trust me then? Will you hang in there then when I break it down to nothing?
That's right.
When Joseph went through what he went through in the Bible, he was sold by his own brothers. He was locked up. He had became a slave. And then he was locked up because he was falsely accused. But don't you know God was with him?
Yes.
And in the long run, everything dried up. And they all had to come to him.
Right.
He was the second in command. See, sometimes God gonna put a second in command, but we gotta go through something to get there.
That's right.
We gotta go through something to get there, and it ain't gonna be pretty.
Yes.
But God is gonna hold you up, and He gonna protect you, and no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Now listen, weapon to form against you, it might hurt, but it won't kill you.
That's right.
It won't destroy you.
That's right.
God is going to get the glory through
I've
it
been
all.
stripped down to literally stripped down to nothing when all I had left was the cross on my back.
Yes.
That was the only covering that I had.
And was still smiling.
Yes. and the people wouldn't have known. If I sit there and told people how my last few years have been, it would blow a lot of people's minds. They wouldn't believe it, because there's power in that tongue.
Oh,
when
yes.
you're going through things, there's certain things that you don't release out of your mouth because the devil don't know what's going on up here. When you start talking and stuff or trying to look some type of way, he looks at you looking like that. That's why they say don't tell anybody when you're fasting. Because the devil's sitting back looking, looking like they going through something. Or they just said this and said that. No, I ain't gonna give you no ammunition.
Right. You're absolutely
right.
But
if people only knew, that's all I'm gonna say. If they only knew, that it would be mind blowing.
You're absolutely right. My goodness. So those of y'all that are not familiar with the Cookie Lady, can you give your information, your address, and where you're located and all that?
Absolutely. I'm located at 3207 Kennedy Lane in Texarkana, Texas, right across the street from Central Mall or 3 doors down from Firehouse Subs.
That's right.
If you're standing in front of the JCPenney entrance, look straight across the street, and that's where I'm in that little plaza right there.
That's right. And and you can also follow her on what's your Facebook?
My main profile is under my name is Charkeitha LaDawn CookieLady Washington, or you can go to Emma's Grand Divine Creations, which is the name of my brand. I named that after my late grandmother. I also have another page. It's under the Texarkana Cookie Lady.
All right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can keep up with her, and you can stop by.
Please do.
You definitely stop by, and she has all kind of little treats, and she's fixing to be doing even more than that. So definitely be following and keeping up, and support the Cookie Lady. Please because do. She is definitely a person for the people, and she helps people. And she's praying for it, and I'm pretty sure if you need prayer, she'll pray for you. And listen, we're all in this to help each other, so let's support one another. Right. All right? And I thank you for stopping by the Popcorn Podcast show today. All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And we will see you all later. Thank you.